Plenty happening in the River Murray Netball Association, as per usual, and we've got Hannah Lolla on the line to give us all the details and all the scores. How you going, Hannah? Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, great, Dan. Always good to chat to you, all things netball.
The first game of the round was played between Tailem Bend and the Southern Suns, and Tailem Bend got up 53-44 in what might be seen as a little bit of an upset on their home court.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of an unsettled first half, that game. And Mel Edwards was the goal attack for Tailem she was on fire. When she's on fire, she lands them from everywhere, and that certainly happened. But yeah, just a bit of an unsettled first half. And then the game settled into quite an even second half. Suns were missing a couple of their key players, and then their key defender, Olivia Clark, had a little knee twinge, so she came off for the second half as well. So I don't think they were at their full strength. Tailem got that win. Mel Edwards certainly played a great game for Tailem, and I thought Lucy Manning, the Suns' centre, played a really good game for them as well. And another win to Tailem.
All right, a very good win for Tailem there, and we'll take a look at the ladder implications for that one shortly, but we'll get through the other games first. So our next game was Mannum getting a pretty cruisy win over the Coorong Cats, 64-28.
Yeah, I think it was, as predicted, a bit of a blowout. They did extend their winning margin from the time before. Cats' normal, usual strength from Holly Hughes just couldn't quite match it. And Mannum, it was a really good all-round effort, great shooting, taking a good percentage boosting win on their way home from Meningie.
Well, it was 60-28 when they met earlier in the year, so if nothing else, the Cats are consistent, and those 28 points both games, not a bad effort. They're getting on the scoreboard, but 64 and 60, a little bit too many to be allowing. So they're still searching for their second win of the season. But we'll move on to our next game, Mypolonga 46 over the Imperials 39. So a close game here, and now Mypo and the Imps are tied on top of the ladder, just the first loss of the season for the Imperials.
Yeah, so Mypo came out really all guns blazing. I think that loss in the last game to Imps, I think they felt that, and they brought that with them onto the court. So they were up by 8 at a quarter time. Imps then settled and sort of wound it back a bit to only about 4, I think, at half time. But Imps couldn't quite overturn that margin that Mypo had sort of established early in that first quarter. Kate Tucker from Mypo, she's in their defence in the circle as goalkeeper, and she played an exceptional game. I know that through the mid-court there was plenty of good battles, but Mypo pretty happy and evens the score, and so that should make for a pretty interesting semi-final when they meet come finals time.
Definitely will, and that was a good result there for Mypolonga. Like I said, we'll take a look at the ladder in a second, but we've got one more game first. Mallee Storm beat Jervois 59-50, so a good effort here by Jervois, who just have 2 wins for the season, but the Storm just that little bit too good.
Yeah, we were chatting last week, and it was going to depend a bit on what happened with Storm's lineup for this match as to what happened. And what Storm have done is managed to find a fill-in player who just happens to be a Premier League player. So Tennille Gray, through some connections of some friends, came out to play for Storm to fill in the goal attack position. And when you bring in such quality player, it's pretty handy. So she, I think, really showed with her drive, quick pace of play, at the standard you expect when you're going to make it to the top down in Adelaide, really accurate shooting, And so by halftime, they had their 9-goal lead. After that, Jervois matched them. So, like, the Jervois girls, should be pretty happy to have matched them once someone had established a bit of a lead, and when they've got such good quality on the court. It'll be interesting to see if Storm manage to retain Tennille playing for them. I think Tennille she's a girl who's played country netball all her life, and she enjoys being able to play across two leagues, like in town and a country league close by to Adelaide if she can. So if Storm manage to pick her up, that'll be an amazing little coup and set them up nicely for the back half of the season.
Always handy when you can get a fill-in who's a Premier League player, and certainly will be big for their finals hopes if they can retain her for the rest of the year. So we'll see how that plays out over the next couple of weeks. It was the Ramblers on the bye this week, so let's take a look at how the ladder is shaping up after 11 rounds. And we've got the Imps and Mypolonga. After the Imps were handed their first loss for the season, they're both at 9-1, separated only by percentage. And then we've got Manham at 7-2, the Southern Suns and the Mallee Storm at 6-4. So you've got 5 teams there with solid winning records, but it's just 4 teams that are going to make finals. Yeah,
so River Murray has historically run a 4-team final system, and that was kept this year despite extra teams coming on. The decision was to not change that system. Although we have actually asked clubs at our last association meeting, we asked clubs to head back and chat internally about what they think about should we move to a 5-team final now that there is 9 clubs, or do we keep our 4-team and know that some good teams might miss out? But I guess a 4-team final series certainly rewards effort throughout the year, and you can't just scrape in and then stack your team and come through and take a premiership. You need to be winning week on week to get into a 4-team final. So it'll be interesting to see what clubs do share back at the next month, and sort of looking at where things land across the league in relation to teams being in the top 4. Because we don't have any games this week, I thought to fill in a bit of time, I better have a bit of a look where clubs are landing. And it's a really interesting situation where all clubs have got teams in the top 4. So that's exciting to see. And all clubs, or most clubs, have got a mix of juniors and seniors. For Storm, the new club Storm in here, they've got 4 teams that are in the top 4 of their grades, and they're all juniors. But as you've alluded to, I think the Storm A grade, it'll be really interesting to see who out of the Suns and Storm end up winning that 4th spot and a finals berth in this year.
Yeah, it will be very interesting. And you even look, Tailem Bend are sitting in 6th. They're a couple of games off the pace, but they did have that good win over the Southern Suns to really shake things up this round. And even Jervois had a really brave loss there, and who knows, if it wasn't for that the Premier League ring-in from the Storm, that might have even been a win for them. So it does show the comp is very close, and it's very competitive for those only 4 final spots.
Yeah, I think Tailem would have needed to beat Storm the week they played them to be any hope for finals. But the Tailem girls will be happy with their season. It's a nice little A-grade team of supportive girls who didn't anticipate that they would be up the top this year, but they were happy to, I guess, at least play in the A-grade and be competitive, which they've managed to do. I think Jervois, I think they've probably just been unlucky all season and missed games by just a few. I think Ramblers as a club's really interesting because whilst their A-grade sitting 8th, they're sitting on top of the ladder in A-res, in B-grade, they're second in B reserve and second in C-grade. So whilst their top team might not be enjoying the successes, the depth within the rest of their senior grades, is great, and they're performing really well. So, I think there's highlights for every club, and congratulations to all clubs, presidents and coaches and committees, because at least having some success across your grades keeps the morale up for all the members as they're working hard to put netball on for our community across the River Murray.
All right, so lots happening in the A grade and, of course, in all the other grades as well. Good to hear that every team in the comp is having some sort of success somewhere. So, yeah, really good to hear that. And we're looking forward. Of course, there's still 7 rounds left, so anything could happen still, and we look forward to seeing how that all goes. We'll wrap things up there. Hannah, thanks very much for coming on and chatting all things River Murray Netball, and we're looking forward to catching up next week as we preview the round 12 action.
Sounds great. We'll enjoy a week off. Thanks, Dan.